Eastern on the dot. So welcome, welcome, welcome everybody to the grand launch of the Liberation Lounge. My name is April Joy, and I am super excited to be offering to you this amazing content today. This is where we're going to be talking to real women, having real conversations. All right. And we're going to be talking about things that are related to liberation. You know, we're living in these really unprecedented times right now, but it's really all about how we are really allowing ourselves to move and operate in the most authentic and pure fashion as possible. And I have some really exciting announcements that I'm going to be sharing with y'all today. So you want to be sure that you tune in. We're only going to be on here for about 15 to 20 minutes. But I want to start first by just saying thank you. I have an extreme amount of gratitude within my heart and within my soul for those of you that have seen my journey. You have witnessed where I have been and where I am coming into over these last couple of years. And I believe that nothing happens by accident. Everything happens with divine intention. And it's really up to us on how we look at the circumstances and events that transpire in our lives and how we can really transform those circumstances and events into unprecedented opportunity. And I'm grateful that I've had the coaching, the mentoring, and the support of some amazing people over the last couple of years that have really brought me to the place today where we can be having the launch of the Liberation Lounge, where we will be having real talk with real women. So I wanted to just kind of start the conversation with that and just to say thank you for sending me a message and saying, hey, we love you, we appreciate you. Thank you for always standing firm in the face of adversity. Thank you for always continuing to uplift and inspire, motivate, and even excel in areas that, you know, a lot of people didn't even realize that I was experiencing a tremendous amount of pain and suffering and had been for quite a few years. But I love what my coach said to me one day. I was having a conversation with her and she said, you know what, April, you are not a tree, you can move. And it was this like divine statement that she made to me that helped me to realize that it didn't matter what I had experienced in my life up until that point, that I can make a different decision that particular day and I can move forward in a completely new way. And that's what I decided to do. I said, you know what? I'm not a tree. I absolutely can move. And so I decided to take all of that pain and suffering and really transform it into unprecedented opportunity. And we all have the option to do this. When we have hope, we have options, right? And so that's really what I hope to be able to do for you today, is to give you a new sense of hope about what is really available to you. Because the masses and the media and society would lead us to believe that as humans that we are very small. But we are bigger and more powerful than we could ever even imagine. And what I'm most excited about is to share with you some things that have been transpiring within my life and how I'm really birthing those things to add value to the world. So if you're ready, let's get into the information. So this is one of the things I want to share with you. And I got my little notes here so I don't forget anything. So this is one of the things I want to share with you. First is that regardless of what goals that you have established for yourself for 2025, there are going to be 3 keys that are going to be required in order for you to really experience that goal. And I mean experience it in real time out here in the life, right? And what you're really going to have to do with these 3 keys is you've got to own them, you've got to embody them, okay? So I'm going to give the 3 keys to you and feel free to take some notes. The first key to being a powerful human starting now in 2025, the first key is you're going to have to learn how to stand firm in the face of uncertainty. You're going to have to learn how to stand firm in the faces of uncertainty. So what does that mean? That means that whatever is within your heart of hearts, you're going to have to learn how to stand firm in the face of that uncertainty. You may not know how that thing is going to come about. You may not even know the steps that you need to take. But what you are going to have to do is you're going to have to learn how to stand firm in the face of uncertainty when you don't even know everything that you're supposed to do yet. When you don't even know how it's all going to come together yet. when you don't even know the kind of support that you're going to need yet. You're going to have to learn how to stand firm in the face of uncertainty. Number two, you're going to have to learn how to stand firm in the face of no evidence. So what do I mean by that? I mean that there is no outside concrete evidence that what you are doing is working. People love to watch. They don't really love to engage, because engagement means, man, I might actually be supporting you before you've actually even made it, right? And we all have experienced that before, where we started a new venture and, people kind of sit back in the cut and they're watching to see how you do. I always say that people may not they may not comment, but they better believe that and know that they are watching. They may not engage with your content, but they are absolutely watching you. So you're going to have to learn how to stand firm in the face of no evidence. When you have no evidence that what it is that you're doing is actually working, you're going to have to learn how to stand firm in that. And I got to tell you, the thing that helps with that is to be operating in purpose. And I'll talk about that here in just a second. So number one, first key to being a powerful human in 2025 and moving forward is to learn how to stand firm in the face of uncertainty. Number two is to learn how to stand firm in the face of no evidence. And number three, and this is a big one, is to learn how to stand firm in the face of no agreement. See, most of us are looking for agreement. We are looking for consensus. I did an amazing landmark course a few weeks ago that talked deep about this. To how to stand firm in the face of no agreement. There is no one that's coming along with their magic wand and tapping you on the head and say, you know what? You are officially ready to launch that new business. You are officially ready to get started in that new venture. You are officially ready to go back to school to get your PhD. You are officially ready for these things. Nobody is standing around doing that. You have to be your own rescue. You have to be your own life preserver. And you have to be your own magician and come over to your own head and tap yourself with the magic wand and say, I have officially christened myself, and I am sanctioned and I am approved to move forward in what it is that I want to do, even if nobody else understands it, even if I have no agreement and no consensus from anyone. When you begin to operate and stand firm in the face of uncertainty, no evidence, and no agreement, that is power. And if we look at all the people over the course of time, I've got plenty of biographies of individuals that we all love and adore and we admire. And we all do. We watch their biographies on PBS and we think that these are some superhuman people, that only those special people could accomplish things like that. And it's just not true. These are regular, everyday, ordinary people who have accomplished some tremendous things in life. And you have the ability to do the same thing. So that's what I'm excited about, is for those of you that are making that decision. You're saying, you know what? It's really time for me to operate in a state of excellence and in my purpose, and to elevate my game in a way that I never have before. And that is not just reserved for those special people. That is for all of us. We get to decide if we're going to operate that way. So that's what the Liberation Lounge is going to be about. I'm going to be having these real talks with real women about how they have really begun to own their space. Own their space. And that's what I'm encouraging each and every one of us to do. Whatever space you're in, own it. Own it. So, My mission for 2025 is to really begin to support women in midlife. So, what do I mean by women in midlife? These are women that are between the ages of probably 40, 45, and 65. And I said this on a Facebook Live not that long ago where I was talking about how women in midlife haven't even really gotten started yet. Honestly, not until I would say about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, did I really begin to awaken to my true identity and potential. Now, some of you that have been following me for a while might say, what are you talking about, April? You've done amazing things. You've written books. You've run women's coaching programs. You've spoken on stages in front of 5,000 people. You built a $200,000 a year direct sales business. Like, what are you talking about? Do you know that it's one thing to make money? It's another thing to operate in purpose. Do you know it's one thing to have accomplished a lot of things and even have the quote unquote trappings of success, but it's a whole nother thing to actually be operating in purpose? And I can tell you that when I made the hardcore decision, when you draw the line in the sand, 2 Corinthians 5:17, which is what God dropped in my spirit last Thursday. I've been real sick, you guys. So you might hear me cough a little bit. My throat gets a little dry because I'm still recovering from bronchitis. But it was last Thursday. I was super sick, and God dropped 2 Corinthians 5:17 within my heart, which I really didn't even know what scripture it was, but I knew the scripture, which was it essentially says, in Christ you are a new creation. Old things have passed away, and behold, all things have become new, right? Old things are passed away, and behold, all things have become new. Now, whether you're religious or not, a Christian, that's not even the point. I want you to hear the statement. Old things have passed away, and behold, all things have become new. And so every single time something from my past tried to come into my present, I had to remind myself of that and say, no, April, old things have passed away, and behold, all things have become new. And so it's going to require you to make some very firm decisions about what it is you want your life to look like. And you're going to have to do it in the face of uncertainty, no evidence, and no agreement. And then and only then will the chess pieces begin to move and the invisible hand will begin to conspire within your favor. My brother Kurt and I, many of you have heard me talk about Kurt for quite a few years. He's been my spiritual workout partner, personal development partner for the last 20 to 25 years. And we were having this conversation very recently. And in that conversation, I wrote down something, and I have it posted right here. And I'll read it to you. It says, I, April Joy, am more confident and in greater communication with the invisible world than I am with the visible, because that's where I see progress. Most of us are trapped in this 3D matrix world, and we don't realize that anything that we see in the physical, anything that we are experiencing in the physical, was long created previously in the world of the non-physical and the invisible. But we put all of our attention on things in the physical. And then when we don't see things happen as quickly or how we thought they would, then we throw our talent and say, oh, I'm out, I'm done. And it's the biggest mistake we could ever make. It's like you're getting ready to bake a cake and you have all the ingredients in the bowl, and someone comes over and says, what are you talking about? That's not a cake. That's just a bunch of blob in a bowl. You're like, yeah, but you don't understand. When I actually put this in a pan and I bake it at 325 for 40 minutes, you're going to see an amazing, beautiful cake that's going to come out. And that person's not going to believe you because all they see is a bunch of wet and dry ingredients in a bowl. And that's what most of us are doing in our lives, is we're looking at all the wet and dry ingredients in our bowl and we're saying, what is this? This isn't a cake. And what we haven't done is we haven't made the decision to take out the pan, pour the batter in the pan, put it in the oven, turn the oven on, put it on 325, and let that sucker bake for 40 minutes. So I don't know what the timeline is for you. I don't know how much garbage you have to overcome within your subconscious. But what I do know is that when you make a decision to operate in purpose, everything, and I do mean everything, begins to operate in your favor. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have what I call temporary setbacks or even some breakdowns along the way. And you know what? The key is to even be grateful for the setbacks and even for the breakdowns, because sometimes a setback is there intentionally to slow you down because there's something that's supposed to happen over here that has not caught up to where you are yet. So there is this divine synchronicity that's actually happening in the realm of the unseen that most of us are completely unaware of. But when we have that temporary breakdown or when we have that temporary setback, we can simply say to ourselves, you know what? That clearly is happening by divine design. That's supposed to be happening right now. And as a result of that, so many things are going to begin to come together for us. So that's what the Liberation Lounge is all about. We're going to be having real talk with real women, these types of conversations about how women have really taken their lives to new levels, how they have really reinvented themselves, how they were able to stop the procrastination, how they were able to literally rid themselves from the plague of people pleasing. If you've ever been plagued with people pleasing, I want you to drop a 2 in the comments and say, that's me. I was plagued with people pleasing for years. I'm grateful that I have worked through that. So I want to share with you guys 2 big goals as we wrap up here today. 2 big goals that I have for this year. And I don't have a crystal ball and, I can't predict really the how. But what I've always been taught from all of my mentors and all of the coaching programs that I've done over the years is that it's not my job to know the how, it's just to know the what. The how is up to a power that is much greater than me that I don't really have anything to do really with the how. My job is just to simply make the decision. So 2 big goals that I have that I'm starting this year. Number 1 is that same day, last Thursday, when I woke up, I was still really, really sick, and we had the snowstorm here in the Midwest, and I couldn't get to a doctor because the doctor's offices were closed. I was up until almost 5 a.m. that night because there was a very strong feeling in my spirit that something was stirring in me. I also have some things I put in place for 2025 in order to really execute on a different level. And the first one for me was no TV. So if I'm at a restaurant or if I'm at, a friend's house, I have the TV on, it's fine. But me personally, I'm not turning on my television to watch TV. Like, I'm not doing that in 2025. That's just a personal decision that I made. Okay. And in conversation with my brother Kurt, he was like, hey, that, there's like crazy wildfires going on. I was like, yeah, I think I saw something in my Facebook feed, but I'm not watching TV, so I really don't know what's going on. So on this Thursday night, I was like, okay, let me see what's going on. So I took out my phone and I saw the devastation of what was happening in Southern California. And what many of you don't know is I'm the youngest of 7 children. My mom and my dad, 3 of my brothers and my aunt, 3 of my brothers and my sister all lived in Altadena, California before I was born. And they lived on a street called Mountain View. I believe their address was 6383 Mountain View. This is like in the 60s, so this is a really long time ago. But my brother was like, Mom would be so sad to see that our little neighborhood was up in flames like this. They had great memories in Altadena, California. In addition to that, my father was a part of the fire department in the Army. And my significant other right now is also a firefighter for the Air Force, um, and works on a military base, actually in Georgia, on medical leave right now, due in part to injuries related to being a firefighter. So I have an intimate relationship when it comes to kind of what's happening, right, in Southern California. And the devastation is beyond anything that most Americans have ever witnessed. You know, we went through what we went through with 9/11. We went through what we went through with Katrina. Um, this is a big one, y'all. And for those of us that are over here on the other side of the country, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, they will eventually get the fires put out, but there's a long tail associated with this devastation, a very long tail. Not only just the putting these neighborhoods back together, but it's the emotional trauma that all of these people have experienced when you realize that everything that you owned is pretty much gone. And so God placed it on my heart to take what I'm doing right now, which is mostly impacting midlife women, and to say, how can I utilize what I'm doing to support what is going to be vastly needed all across Southern California? So effective today, I'm super excited to announce my big, hairy, audacious goal. And my big, hairy, audacious goal is to raise $500,000 for the victims of the California wildfires. And those monies will be donated directly to the American Red Cross of Greater Los Angeles. I'll be taking a percentage of all proceeds of all workshops, coaching programs, and 25% of credit card processing fees will be donated to the American Red Cross until I reach my goal of 500,000. So that means that, you know, if April earns $1 million this year, she's going to get taxed on $1 million, right? But I'm really, really committed to support these families, because that could have been my family, y'all. That could have been my family. My family that I grew up right there in Altadena, California, which is unfortunately mostly decimated now. So any way that you have engaged with me, many of you have participated in my Lost to Liberation program. Many of you have invested into the 2025 goal statement and habit installation workshop. I have one more, by the way, the last one of this year, which will be this coming Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern. And a lot of folks have said, this is a 2-hour workshop with amazing strategies and tools for $20.25. $20.25. It's literally like $150, probably a $250 workshop for $20.25. And I said, well, I'm doing it for $20.25 because I remember the day when I didn't have $247 to invest in coaching. I remember when I didn't have it. So that's the reason why it's $20.25, because I still want to be able to support people where they are. And I don't believe that people should be priced out of help. Just like I don't think people should be priced out of the medical care system, the healthcare system, really the sick care system. But I don't think they should be priced out of that, although many are. I also don't think people should be priced out of therapy. And I also don't think that people should be priced out of coaching. I don't think if you don't have 10 grand to invest, I don't think that's a reason for you not to be able to get the help and support that you need so that you can elevate your life. A lot of us are focused on financial freedom. And I got to tell you that until I got really clear about who I was and the power and the gifts that God had inside of me that were meant to add value, only until I got to that place did I begin to really understand how important it was for me to keep my coaching affordable. So that's why I've done what I've done. $20.25. Okay. And a portion of those proceeds will be donated to the American Red Cross of Greater Los Angeles. So I'm very, very excited. So if you want to support yourself, help you, and help California, then you can invest in that workshop, which will be, again, the last one will be this coming Thursday. So that's the first goal, is to raise $500,000 for the victims of the California wildfires. The second goal is to coach and mentor 50,000 women in 2025. 50,000 women, to touch 50,000 women in 2025. These will mostly be women in midlife, I'm sure. But that's my other big goal, is to touch 50,000 women in 2025. And that's going to come out to about 4,000 women a month. I got a lot of work to do. So I'm very excited about this, because it's one thing to wake up every day to go make money. It's another thing to wake up every day and to be pushed and really even pulled. You're really being pulled by a greater purpose and contribution. I can remember for close to 15 years, I woke up every day and I felt like I was doing good work, and I was for the most part, but I wasn't operating within my purpose. But did I gain some incredible knowledge, skills, and expertise? Yes, I did. But I still wasn't operating within my purpose. Was I making good money? Yes, but I still wasn't operating within my purpose. And not until I made that distinction did everything begin to change for me. So as we wrap up here, I'm going to share with y'all a couple of things that I am going to be doing. So the first thing, as we already discussed, is the goal of raising $500,000 for victims of the California wildfires. So I'm really, really excited about that. And you can participate in my workshop that's coming up this coming Thursday. April Showers Cali, that's going to be my hashtag I'm going to be using for the rest of the year, April Showers Cali. So that is my goal, is to raise the 500,000. And anything that you participate in with me, a percentage of those proceeds will be going from both the credit card processing as well as from the actual revenue will be donated to the California wildfires. And I'm just going to stick with it until I get to that goal. Okay. So the final session for my goal statement habit installation workshop is going to be Thursday. Okay. From 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., $20.25, 2 full hours. Okay. And I can promise you it's going to be the best $20 that you've spent in a really long time. Okay. Lastly, is on tomorrow's show, I am so excited. We are going to have none other than Dr. Carla Messer, my sister from another mister, one of my dear, dear friends, executive coach, sits on the board of directors for Hope House Mission, which supports men, women, and children in some very, very powerful ways in Butler, Warren, and I believe Claremont County as well. Okay. She's a phenomenal human and a woman that I have so much respect for. She was one of the major people in my life when I first made the decision to jump into entrepreneurship full time. And I love her like a sister. She is my sister. And I'm so excited for you guys to hear the impact that she is making in the community, as well as a woman in midlife, right? So that's going to be tomorrow, Wednesday, January 15th at 12 p.m. Eastern time. And that will be again here on my Facebook page, facebook.com/April Joy Empowers. Okay. So that is going to be tomorrow. So with that, y'all, I am super excited. I wanted to keep this right at about 30 minutes, and it is 12:30 on the dot. And so if you are standing with me and believing in my mission of raising my $500,000. I want you to put in the comments, because I know many of you are watching live on Facebook, put in the comments, April showers Callie, and you can register for the workshop by clicking on the QR code or by simply going to apriljoyempowers.com/2025 goals. Okay. So thank you so much, everybody. I love you. I appreciate you. I look forward to seeing you at the workshop on Thursday. And join us tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern for an amazing conversation with Dr. Carla Messer, where we're going to be having real talk with real women. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good one, and bye for now.